Hello, families. This is Mrs. Farrell, Mitchell and Farrell, and I would like to thank you for taking this time to watch this presentation. This presentation is for you, the adults in our students' lives. And as I said, this presentation's goal is to give you an overview of what our new learning is going to look like. And I will be planning to include a description of our day, week, communication opportunities, and helpful resources, I hope. We'll start off by communication, where we have Bloom's messages. And as you already know, we are using that quite a bit. I think I want to make sure that I let you know that we have images and that I will try to take pictures of so that if you need to go back and look at them, you can find them in the media file. Um, Office hours officially with the district. I'm available for you and your students between Monday through Friday between 9 and 2, but I generally try to be available when you have questions. Whenever that works out the best. Um, I'm also constantly checking in with the students' work so that I can give them feedback. So you could encourage them as well to check back once they've turned in assignments. Hey, did Mrs. Farrell give you any more information or any feedback? Um, Google Classroom is the big deal these days. It's the format that I use to communicate with your students. It's how they receive their work. It's how they get their work back. It's how they find out what their assignments is. It's just like the whole kit and caboodle. Um, so again, I can't emphasize enough that having this feedback for your students, they're not used to looking back at that. Oops, sorry, they're not used to looking for that because I usually give it to them in their papers, constantly verbally in class. So now they're going to have to check in their assignments and look and see what that feedback is. So that's a new tool for them, but it's really, really important. This is an overview of Google Classroom, the student view. So your students are pretty familiar with this by now, so I thought I'd give you a kind of a snapshot. So in this corner over here, this is where you can see if your students in their right account. They have their own little picture. It'll have their email address. You can see that they're in their own account. This is their big place, this classwork place. That's where all the assignments are. This stream, depending on the Google Classroom, we have a classroom, I guess you would say, page for each of our subjects. And then the home base is where all the assignments are, the week's assignments and things like that are held. And then there's a writing class, there's a math class, and that's where their actual work will be. So this stream is really important in the home base class because it kind of has lots of information. In the other pages, this classwork page is where their actual assignments and work are. Again, you can always ask me if you have any questions. But there's the stream, as I said, that's on that page. And this is where the posts come up in chronological order. And that's how I add new things to them. You will also maybe notice that they can make comments back and forth. They can only do comments in the home page. That's the only page I made available for that. And normally I wouldn't allow that. I want them working when they're in Google Classroom. They don't need to mess around and play. But I think in these circumstances, they really appreciate just being able to say hi and someone says hi back. It just gives them a little way of communicating with each other where I can monitor it. If there's anything inappropriate, I can just handle it right away. We haven't had that come up at all, but it is an area that I can monitor very easily. The last piece of our communication are the Zoom meetings. As you know, we've already started those. I really grapple with doing them daily, but I think that gives everyone a chance to hit the ones they want to go to attend. Um, My goal is to continue to do the Monday through Friday at 10 in the morning, unless there's something that happens, and I'll let them know if there's uh, a new plan. But generally, that's what we're going to be doing. But I do want the kids to know they don't have to come in by video. They don't have to come in on audio. They can mute themselves, and that way they can just listen and they can participate if they choose to. It's completely up to them. I do not record any of these, and I'm following all the safety measures out there to make sure that our meetings are safe. Um, this is our opportunity. We touch base. I ask questions. They ask questions. We share our ideas. We try to have a little fun. Sometimes it's just nice to see each other's face. Every day, I provide a link to the meeting in our homepage on our Google Classroom, and the kids, as I said, they're kind of familiar already with how to get into them, and they've been doing a good job with them. But if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. And then if you look up on YouTube, this is a great resource for parents and for students on Zoom meetings. So this is where the assignment part comes in. I've already kind of set up this format with the kids before we went on break. This is what their weekly work would look like. And I do try to send a screenshot of this on Blooms at least once a week as well. But this gives the overall view for the whole week. We always have AR, writing, math, reading comprehension, either science or social studies. And then depending on our workload, I'll put in some grammar. That'll be as I said, depending on our workload. So this is like gives them their final goal for the whole week. And I just want you to notice this writing has like two parts to it, and the math has two parts to it. This reading only had one part, and that's going to come in a couple slides in a minute. So you'll see why I set it up that way. For those kids who need like that daily schedule or format, I'm also providing a daily format. Now, the kids really have the flexibility of completing the assignments at their own pace. If they don't do Monday's assignment on Monday, then that's fine. I'm looking more to see if they complete their work by the end of the week. It I will continue to check so that way if they do work on it in a timely manner or early, however that works, then I will give them feedback so they can grow. Um, and it will help them stay on target. And also, generally, they want to do the assignments in order. There's going to be, lessons 1 through 4, 1 through 5. They're going to want to do the lessons in order. But as I said, they may do it at their own pace. If Monday's super busy and something came up and they do all their work on Tuesday, there's nothing wrong with that. They can pace out themselves. Grading in quotation marks. Our district is still going through the evaluation process on what that's going to look like. They have said that they want us to keep track of who is participating and who's not. Um, I have two systems in place already that we've been using and mirror what we've done in the class. The first one is the virtual stickies, and I will show you what that looks like on the next slide. The second is Google Comments. As I said before, I give them feedback. I do this in Google Classroom after they turn in their work. I can give them all the comments are private. I can give them suggestions. I can give them revision ideas, and I can give them private comments. So once again, this is that thing that they're not used to going back to look at their work once they've submitted it because I've always told them or given it to them. So that's going to be the hardest part is getting used to going back and looking for that information. I keep reminding the students when they're in Google Classroom, please turn in their work. Don't share it with me because that puts it in different folders and makes it hard to see. And I know all this is new for most of you. So I am, again, here for any questions that you have. This is what we're talking about with the virtual stickies. We have always had stickies in our classroom that help us monitor our work accomplishments for the week. I usually try to keep a running list of things that are due by Friday, and I color code each category. And as soon as they've met that goal for that subject, then they get a colored sticky. So the numbers correspond to their classroom numbers. They all know their own numbers. And then on I put these in our slides, and generally each one of these boxes is its own page, but I just kind of stuck them all on one page this time. But here's the key down here. So AR is going to be this first box, and it's a solid box. And so all the kids who met that 30% AR goal for that week, they have that color marked in their box. Then we have writing. And I showed you on the weekly plan, there were 2 writing assignments. So there's 2 writing boxes. So they're getting credit for doing all the work that they do. So some of our kids got one of those accomplished. Some of them got all of the work accomplished. So the whole bar's filled in. So the kids, it's helping them monitor their work. How much of the work did they accomplish? Were they able to do? Um, then math, there were 2 math assignments. There was Zern and Con. So I try to let them know, okay, you did great. You met your Zern goal and you started on your Con. So there's a little check mark in there. And these guys met their goals for both Zern and Con. So that's just showing them, hey, I see that you got your work done. That looks great. If it's blank and they think they're done, then they need to check in with me. Well, I thought I finished this. It's like, well, when I looked, your percentage wasn't very high. Maybe you just kind of rushed through it. There's some different feedback I can give them with that. The reading comprehension, there was only one activity. Some of the kids met that with 100%. So I want to make sure I give them a little shout out for that. So I'll put that on there. We had several of those guys do that. And then we had some kids who met that goal and they still accomplished that assignment. So they did a good job. Science was green, and this is where I was running out of boxes. So we have this side was the science assignment, and then this side was our grammar assignment. So that's the different colors. We had the student who got all of the work done for the whole time, and so I'd like to give them, some kind of little shout out with different graphics. The student has met her AR goal, and so that's why she's got a little target on there because she met her complete AR goal, which was fantastic. So it's my goal to make sure the kids know that I see that they're working hard and that we all give them little shout outs and appreciation for that hard work. So this is kind of the biggest key in how I give them um, their quote unquote grades. They know they're participating because they've got lots of work filled out. Here we're talking about commenting, and this is the Google Classroom comment example with that information when I'm giving them feedback. So there's 2 places. There's a place where I give comments, and I can highlight the information where I want them to look, if especially like in writing or something. This section might need more capitalization. This section might need some more punctuation, and then they can do the comment and then they would hit I think it's resolve to yes, I saw that and I fixed it. And then this is the section for the private comments that gives us kind of a bank of comments. We can go back and forth. It lets them know, yes, I saw your work. um, and they can ask me questions and I can respond. So this is in their Google Classroom after they've turned in an assignment. How can you no, how am I supporting your students? I've got ideas for you guys too. But this is for me. So, different ways that I'm supporting the various needs that our students have. Lots of video supports. I'm doing several of them so that they see or hear my voice and kind of some of the formats that we're used to. Also, others that mostly I'm finding YouTube has been an amazing resource. There's lots of slides and web resources and links for information. They have their personal journal, which is in a Google page, and it's a document that they can type to me, ask me questions, and I respond. We can go back and forth. They can give me ideas, thoughts, concerns, questions, whatever they want to. And we still have Mrs. Pal, who is available to our students as well for extra support. So those are just different things in place automatically that helps them support their lesson. How can you guys support your fifth graders? It's coming up. Ask them about their assignments, check in with their virtual stickies, give them celebrations as they finish their work, support them with time limits. If you're noticing that some of this stuff is taking a long time, they shouldn't be spending much more than 30 minutes on a reading assignment or writing. And um, if their subjects are taking too much time, please let me know. Maybe encourage them to spread their time out a little bit more. They don't have to do it all in one chunk. They can spread it out throughout the week, even the weekend. I will continue to look all weekend and see how they've accomplished their tasks. Encourage your students, please, to reach out to me. There are several different ways. The Google Doc, my personal page is a great way that they can check in with me and remind them once again. I'm saying it again, to have your students check back in their work and see if there's any feedback, comments, or suggestions. This format for school is not my favorite. I miss your students terribly. But I know how hard they work, and I will continue to push them to be their very best. Um, I'm going to give them as much as I can so that they can do their best, and they're going to do what they can, and they're going to make the most out of it. So it's kind of, we've talked about this before in our Zoom meetings. They're making the most out of their learnings. I'm going to give them the opportunities, and they're going to make the most of it. I am so proud of them, and it's not easy not being with them, but we've got this. We're going to do this. Finally, with every daily piece that I give them, I always put our frequent sight list on here so that they can remember. Sometimes there's codes that they need to remember. Each one, if they click on them, it takes them to that place. There's a link to it. Um, Remind your students that in all of these sites, they should be using their student login information, their Google account. At this point, I'm thinking that most of our students are already in their Google account and they're accessing all these different sites through their Google. They can also access it through the student Symbaloo page. So as long as they're in the Google account, then they are already in these classrooms, and it's usually pretty easy to complete their tasks. And then there's a few more sites. So this is always attached to the daily slide that I give the students in Google Classroom every day. So they always have this information for their frequent sites. So thank you for taking this time to listen. Always here for questions. Really weird doing it this way, but we're going to all make it work. And I appreciate all your efforts and everything that I'm sure you guys are going through at home. I'm thinking of you all, and I am here for you too. So thank you.